for TSS Fantasy. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time.
How the fuck you got me up this damn early, Jason?
It's time.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Oh, hell yeah.
Absolutely. Hell yeah, indeed. We have a busy show tonight. Love our early prep shows. So let's get it started. We'll start with our introductions. Welcome to the studio, Nick. You got Flandered Macaronis.
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere in the world this evening, but you chose your evening with us. Right, you can find me. My name is Nick. You got Flandered. You can find me at Penn Flanders on Twitter. And you can also find, when you go to TSSFantasy.com, our wonderful array of merchandise. Yes, it is the holiday season. Our commissioner is proudly displaying our logo on his shirts, okay? And you can go to TSSFantasy.com, click on merchandise, and you can see our t-shirts, mugs, bottles, beanies, and all other assortment of apparel for your pleasure.
Indeed, for your pleasure. All right, let's also welcome to the studio Dr. Jeffrey Miller. Sir, welcome to the studio.
Fellas, it is great to be here with you. And in lieu of a teaser for the house call segment tonight, I just want to say that if I ever need hand surgery, I'm going to see Dr. Steven Shen.
Okay. Might be elaborating on that here, hopefully. All right, let's go. Let's start real quick. Let you guys know we are the fantasy show of the people. So visit our website, TSSFantasy.com. All of our current rankings for week 10 are up right now, so you can check it out. They are early, so we might have some people coming in and out, as we do know, so we'll update those as the week progresses. Also, check us out on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, anything else. We'll hopefully get on there at some point. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. I never seem to plug it. There I did. I remembered it. Thank God. Also, TSSFantasy.com. We do have a link to the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network. Visit all of the great podcasts on there. We have everything from wrestling to racing. Speaking of racing, we do have two great podcasts tonight. We'll be on right after the Dr. Miller show. Dr. Miller show. The Dr. Miller house call. Get off! They'll be facing off in Champs versus Chumps. It's Chairgatin versus, I got my notes all mixed up here. Ramblin about racing. So it's going to be an exciting night tonight in Champs versus Chumps. Also, the Belly Up Sports Podcast Sunday lineup. Don't forget to visit us. We're going to be 8 to 9 a.m. waking up with TSS Fantasy. And check us out on Unhinged Radio. That is a 24/7 sports radio network. All of the great podcasts that are on Belly Up and some other ones as well. We're on from 8 to 9 a.m. So check us out every morning. Make us part of your morning commute. We are the fantasy show of the people. Before we get Dr. Miller's house call started tonight, now it's called, my bad. Before we get the Dr. Miller show started tonight, I did tease earlier on Twitter, we are doing another giveaway. So tonight, I have a trivia question. I'm going to throw it out now, so hopefully somebody can answer it by the end of the show. That way we can get rid of the tickets. We can announce our winner before the end of tonight. So here it is. Here's the trivia question, all right? Jacoby Myers, he's caught 130 balls as a pro, and none of them he has got into the end zone with. So that makes 19 consecutive games that this streak has happened. There is one active player that has a higher streak than that. Tell me the player. You win 3 tickets to go see the Miami Dolphins face the Baltimore Ravens this Thursday night in what is sure to be an epic beatdown of my team. All righty, let's get things started. We're going to start with Dr. Miller's house call.
All right, welcome to the Dr. Miller Show, as the commissioner beautifully prefaced. We're going to start tonight in New England. We'll talk about the New England backfield with both Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson. Both left Sunday's game with head injuries and are both now in the concussion protocol. Now, running backs coach Ivan Fears called their status for Week 10, quote, a big question mark, end quote.
Yeah, so Brandon Bolden, I mean, obviously that's a big, he's going to be somebody, if he's not already picked up in your league, somebody you want to target on your waiver wire. Nick, are you making Brandon Bolden a priority this week?
I would if I needed to stream somebody, because the old ball coach. If Brandon Bolden rather, if he walks in the room the wrong way, he's not playing. So I would think that he'd be starting. And then I don't know who else they have on their roster. It's usually Rex Burkhead, but he's not there anymore. So I would stream him. I don't know if he would be a top priority depending on my running back stable, but he would definitely be a top 4 this week.
Indeed. Who else you got, Doc?
So let's stay within the concussion protocol, and we'll stay in the backfield. Now moving to the Bills, Zach Moss, also in concussion protocol.
Yeah, so Devin Singletary, obviously he becomes a big pickup because I know nobody's held on to Devin Singletary this long, and if you have, you poor soul. All right, who else you got, Doc?
All right, staying in the backfield, moving to the Cardinals, Chase Edmonds sustained a high ankle sprain. And there's speculation right now that he's headed off to the injured reserve list, which would put his earliest return week 14, because they've got a bye between now and then. That's not going to count for a missed week. So Chase Edmonds, week 14 return, may be his best case scenario.
Yeah, so, we talked about the big day by James Conner. And it was funny that we did have a conversation last night as well about the backfield of the Cardinals. And I did mention we were trying to figure out, to make sure we said the name right, Eno Benjamin. And I was sitting here saying, James Conner is an injury-prone guy, somebody you might want to take a look at. I was thinking I was going to sneak him in, and then I'm watching Good Morning Football this morning, and he wins the Angry Run segment. So not going to be sneaking this guy, and he looks pretty nasty, actually. I definitely would make him a priority this week because, again, James Conner does get hurt a lot. All right, who else we got, Doc?
So Sam Darnold was first benched for his season worst performance, and now he's been benched with a right scapula fracture. So briefly, the scapula synonymous with shoulder blade on his throwing arm. Likely headed to the IR. Tough to throw when you've got a broken shoulder blade.
Indeed. All right, who else we got?
So I teased Dr. Steven Shin. We talked about him a number of weeks ago. He was the surgeon responsible for taking care of Russell Wilson. So briefly, the timeline on this one is just bonkers. So the injury occurred on October 7th. That was week 5. Had surgery on October 8th the next day. And the normal timeline for recovery at best is about 6 to 8 weeks when you're talking about the extensor tendon rupture or the mallet finger. And he is looking to come back at 37 days. So this is just amazing. And this is not him coming back against medical advice. I'm going to go ahead and quote Dr. Shin here, who said, quote, I can now confidently clear him for full return to play without reservation. This guy is a surgical magician. He's not paying me to say this. I'd love him as a sponsor on this show. If you need a hand surgery, go see Dr. Shin.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'll take any sponsor at this point, but definitely Dr. Shin, please. We'll make some Dr. Shin mugs for sure. All right. Who else we got, Doc?
So Gronk, we've talked about him a number of times over the last few weeks. He is still managing back spasms from what we agree is an ill-advised premature return. Not sure if he'll be suiting up this week, but he is still dealing with back spasms. Staying in Tampa Bay, Antonio Brown is still wearing a walking boot due to that ankle injury, but there's talk that he is expected to return this weekend. To put them together, Coach Arians said, quote, I think you still have to worry a little bit about Gronk, and I don't know if AB is going to be back. So there's certainly question mark surrounding their ability to play in Week 10.
Well, you're already starting Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, so that's no secret. But again, you might have another big week if no Gronk or Antonio Brown again. All right, who else we got?
So I've had some fun quoting Coach Pete Carroll of the Seahawks when it comes to Chris Carson. And it seems like depending on the day you look at his quotes, he's all over the place. Chris Carson is expected to return to practice today, Wednesday, November 10th. Now, Pete Carroll did comment the other day, quote, we'll see how that goes, which I think is the best description of this whole return to play process. We'll see how it goes. TSS doesn't necessarily think this return is wise. He might need some more time, but to quote Pete Carroll, we'll see how it goes. Should be back today.
Yeah, we shall see how it goes. All right. Who else we got, Doc?
So speaking of coming back to practice today, Logan Thomas on the football team, he's been sidelined for a while. I mean, we're approaching 2 months, I think, here. He was week 3 with a hamstring injury, and he's expected to be back to practice today as well. And then CEH from the Chiefs, he's remaining on the IR after his week 5 MCL sprain. Look to see him coming back maybe after the week 12 bye.
All right, duly noted there. Who else do we got?
That wraps up today's house call, unless you got a late addition for me.
No late additions, indeed. Oh, I mean, we got a couple of people out with COVID, but I mean, not much you can really talk about there, to be quite frank. All right, so again, don't forget you can check out Dr. Miller on Sunday with Wake Up with TSS Fantasy. We'll talk about I think we're going to bring back the percent to the bench. So let's bring that back on Sunday. Talk about guys that may or may not play. We'll bring back the whole summer hit percent to the bench. All right. Appreciate you, sir. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to bring Champs or Chumps with Chairgatin and Ramblin about Racin. Be right back.
Man, Commish, must be hard trying to get us clowns to come together for the show.
Yeah, especially keeping us motivated during the Jeffter snack breaks.
It's almost like we need a counselor or someone to at least consult us because we don't know what we're doing.
Luckily for us, we signed the best coach in the business, Vision Coach and Consulting.
They have led the way for business professionals for over 20 years.
Yeah, you know what? They offer business coaching, life coaching, and consulting services that can put you back on track for your personal goals.
Show.
You don't say, Nick. You know what? Check
Don't
them out
make me
today
wanna
at
go live.
coachleading.org or on Facebook or Twitter at their handle, Coach Lead Win.
I like it.
Vision Coaching and Consulting, because every champion has a coach.
I wonder who the.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 special guests. It is Chairgatin. It's Rattlesnake, from Chairgatin, and Matt Beamer from Ramblin about Racin. Fellas, welcome to the studio.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. Listen, I'm going to give our audience full disclosure. Our guests were a little reluctant, haven't been keeping up with the NFL as much, so I wanted to give them full disclosure. These guys have some great racing shows. I mean, I've been telling them both. I'm not a big NASCAR fan, but watching you guys live and listening to your podcast makes me want to be a NASCAR fan. So I appreciate you guys and appreciate you coming on. We appreciate you guys coming on. We're going to start tonight. We're going to do Champs or Chumps tonight. Again, we talked about the rules earlier. We're just going to – you guys will bring up a player. You guys make the case for him to be a champ, to stay in the top 10 at the end of the year in fantasy, or a chump to stay out of the top 10 in fantasy. All right, so let's get it on tonight. First round, it's time for Champs or Chumps. All right, let's go with round one. We're going to start real quick with our top 10. Just a reminder, top 10 right now. Tom Brady, Jalen Hurts is number 2, Matt Stafford at number 3, Lamar Jackson number 4, Josh Allen at number 5, Pat Mahomes 6, Justin Herbert 7, Kyler Murray at 8, Justin Burrows 9, Carson Wentz at 10, and I put in Kirk Cousins there at number 11 because we're going to start with the rattlesnake Chairgatin. I gave you Kirk Cousins. You give me a case for him to be a champ.
A champ?
Chump. Sorry, my bad. I wrote it down wrong. I was looking at my writing like, oh, yeah, my bad. Chump.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's pretty easy. First of all, like I said, I don't keep up with the NFL. I'm a Texans fan, so I gave up on that a few years ago. But I will say I know this guy. I do know he's – am I allowed to cuss on the show?
Absolutely.
No.
Feel free.
Okay. Well, he's old as shit. What is he, like 40 years old by now? I don't know how old he is anymore. And what is he, like the 8th highest quarterback in the league? For the Vikings? They're trash. I mean, total chump. Dude's overpaid, way too old. Time for the Vikings to get somebody else.
Wow, a pretty decent case, I have to say. All right, let's go to Matt. I got Pat Mahomes. He's been struggling as of late, though. Give me the case for Pat Mahomes as a champ.
Well, I'm going to take your word on the fact that he's been struggling, but I would have to say he's in top 10 with your fantasy picks right now, and he's not having a bad season based on his other seasons. He's pretty much running right up there consistently with what he's been doing. I think he will continue to stay a champ, if only for the fact that he has a good team around him.
I mean, a decent case. He's not wrong. Nick, who you got for round one?
Compelling arguments. But Matt, I'm sorry, you have been officially snake bit. Rattlesnake, you get round one.
All right, round one.
I'm drinking my Modelo's while I answer these. We'll see how it goes.
Swearing and drinking beer on a Tuesday night. Well,
yeah,
there we go.
That's the way to do it. Absolutely. All right, let's go to round two. Round one went to Chairgatin. We're going to round two now, bringing up the running backs. Derrick Henry, number 1. Jonathan Taylor, number 2. Austin Eckler at 3. Najee Harris at number 4. Joe Mixon, still, I can't believe he's still healthy, number 5. Alvin Kamara at number 6. Cordell Patterson, we've had lots of conversation about him at number 7. Aaron Jones at 8. DeAndre Swift at 9. Ezekiel Elliott at number 10. And James Conner rounding up at number 11. All right, we're going to go to you, Matt. Alvin Kamara. Make the case for him as a chump.
All right. Well, I would have to say, first of all, I'm a Saints fan. I like the Saints. I like what they do. And I would have to say this. Yeah, he's not doing as well as he did last season. However, I feel like during the course of the year, some players warm up faster than others. And I feel like Kamara might be one of those players who might warm up towards the end of the season. And that's why I think he's a late bloomer, but a late bloomer nonetheless to get those legs kicking and score more touchdowns and earn more yards for the running game for the Saints.
Absolutely. Listen, full disclosure, anytime someone discloses what team they are, first chance I get, I like to put them on their toes. So that's why I made you do Alvin Kamara as a chump. All right, Rattlesnake. James Conner as a champ. Let's hear it, brother.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm kind of already off to a rough start because I was like, who the hell is this guy? Found out he's backup for Arizona, but he's playing right now. And I just looked this up. Heading into week 10, he was tied with Derrick Henry for league lead in rushing touchdowns. As a backup? Is this true?
It is true.
Yeah.
Well, then what do I got to do to defend him? He's doing it on the field himself.
Well, all right. Hey, I hear you. Absolutely. All right, Nick, round 2. Who you got?
Well, Snake, Matt came out with a little more sufficient supporting material. So I'm going to go with Matt Jim and Beamer. Matt wins round 2.
Matt wins round 2 with some meat on the bone. That's basically why he got that one. All right, let's go to round 3. We're going to go to round 3. We're going to bring up the receivers. So we got Cooper Kupp still chilling, number 1. Tyreek Hill at 2. Jamar Chase, number 3. Deebo Samuel at 4. Devontae Adams at 5. Hollywood Brown at 6. Michael Pittman, 7. DK Metcalf, 8. Chris Godwin at 9. Mike Evans at 10. Robert Woods, 12. And Brandon Cooks at 14. So I finally was able to grab a Texan. Brandon Cooks, Mr. Rattlesnake, make him a chump.
I mean, he does it himself. He plays for the Texans. I'm a Texans fan, and I'm well aware of the type of team we are at this point. There's no hope. And beyond that, I was looking up like anything that he's been doing lately, and apparently he was saying that practice isn't the issue. It's their attitude on the field and stuff like that. Anytime somebody says practice isn't the issue, I'm like, you're not practicing enough, dude. Lazy, chump.
Indeed. All right. Compelling case. All right, Matt, you got Robert Woods. Make him a champ.
Yep. Well, just like racing, consistency is everything. Woods is consistent. He's just based on his stats over the past number of years with Buffalo and now with the Los Angeles Rams. He's consistent, and that's what you need on the field, whether it's on the racetrack or the gridiron. Consistency wins championships, and that's why he's a champ.
Indeed. In life itself, everything is key with consistency. Nick, consistent, sir, and your picks. Who do you got for round 3?
Well, he did mention the word consistency, and when he said that, I thought of pudding, and the proof is in the pudding. Matt, you win round 3. Round 3.
I know. It's cool. It's cool. I had pause too because I was like, what round were we at again? All right, it's cool. We got you. All right, so Ramblin's up 2-1 on Chairgatin. We're going into round 3, or now we're going into round 4. Sorry. I wonder who's going to win this one. All right, here we go with round 4. Travis Kelce, number 1. Mark Andrews at 2. Gesicki at 3. TJ Hawkinson at 4. Darren Waller at 5. Schultz at 6. Kyle Pitts at 7. Hunter Henry at 8. Noah Fant with COVID still at 9. CJ Uzomah at 10. And Tyler Higbee there at 13. All right, we're going to go to you, Matt. Let's make Kyle Pitts a chump.
All right, Kyle Pitts is a rookie for Atlanta, which isn't my favorite team in the world, being in the NFC South. But you know what? He's a rookie. And what do you expect more out of rookies except what he's doing? He's doing it, having a decent season. If I wanted to make an argument for a champ, however, we're making an argument for a chump. He's a rookie. He's still learning the game. He's playing now on a very competitive level there in the NFL. Give him a few more years, he might be in the champ category. But what can you expect from a rookie except what he's producing right now?
Absolutely. All right, agreed. Good argument there. Rattlesnake, Tyler Higbee, let's make him a champ.
So first of all, I just want to mention that Matt's argument was a complete failure. He even said, I don't know if he could be a champ right now. I was like, okay, well, I won this one. I looked up Tyler based on where he was like supposed to be preseason for fantasy. He's dropped dramatically. He's only had like 2 touchdowns. I mean, anytime you're not exceeding expectations, you're a chump.
I mean, the Rattlesnake just brought the thunder. I don't know, Nick. What do you think? Who do you think got that round?
He didn't make any argument for his player, though.
Well, in his defense, you made it for him. So
yeah, I did. Well played.
And due to the fact that he's also, from what I can see back there, he's a Jeff Gordon fan. And when I was a NASCAR fan, I liked Jeff Gordon. So, again, you made your own case against yourself, Matt. So I have to give the point to the Rattlesnake.
All fair.
Hey, everything is all.
So I'm at work right now, so I don't have the fancy background of NASCAR memorabilia, so you can't give that to him just based on that. I think that's
okay. Fine.
I'm taking it. I'm taking it.
He brought the data.
I mean, take it.
I
don't blame you.
So therefore, he wins.
Fine. Fair enough.
All right, hey, this is what it's all about. Champs or chumps. The contestants are fighting and scratching and clawing, seeing who can win. For some odd reason, every time we do this, it gets to the last round, and here we are, the last round for champs or chumps. Let's see who's going to take it. Let's talk about our top 10 defenses. Number 1, still the Bills, been dominating all year. Cardinals at 2, Patriots at 3, Saints at 4, Colts at 5, Titans at 6, 7 the Broncos, 8 the Bucks, 9 Cowboys, 10 Vikings, 25 Texans on there. So that's going to be interesting. This is all right. I'm going to go to Matt first. Matt, you got your boys, the Saints. I made it easy for you. Make the case for them as champs.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one because I didn't really look up their stats as I should have in preparation for this show. But all I'm going to say is this: they've come back from Bountygate. They're up there in the what do we got? Top 5 right there in the defense charts. They seem to be having a good season. Disclaimer: I'm like Rattlesnake, and this now starting to NASCAR's over. Let's get into football here. Ugh, it's like, well,
Matt knows how I feel. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So
hey,
I would just have to say, home field advantage. It's tough to win in that Mercedes-Benz Superdome right there with the Saints, let alone their Saints defense. So yeah, they're champs.
That's
the best I got right there.
Hey, listen, that's why we got you on. We know it's kind of the NASCAR season is winding down. I want to get your game up for football before, playoffs hit and everything, get you going. All right, cool.
All right,
we appreciate you. All right, that was a good one. Now, I want to hear this. Rattlesnake, your Texans defense, they're ranked 25. I want to hear you make a case for them to be champs.
Well, you just mentioned to get ready for the playoffs. And as a Texans fan, I don't have to get ready for that.
Saints might.
I'm going to go ahead and concede to Matt because the situation you just put me in is impossible. Like, I can't. When I saw, make the Texans the champ, I was like, well, I lost. This is over. So I'm going to go ahead and concede. We're the worst team in the NFL. We deserve everything that's coming to us. Congratulations, Matt, on your victory.
Oh, well,
We'll see. That's the cool thing, and what makes this fun is that that's what kind of I was looking for. I wanted to hear you concede. So actually, that makes you the winner. That's what makes this whole thing fun. We're going to make Rattlesnake the winner because that's how Champs or Chumps work. It's the argument you make. I love it. Congratulations.
He didn't even try.
And sir,
Matt, Rattlesnake's seen a few more shows to realize what was going on here. I think he played the game right.
Matt,
he knows what's going on here.
I'm sorry, but every week, the loser does get the Dumbass of the Week award.
Dumbass. Thank these. You call me dumbass. Play kind in stupid.
Listen,
there were some words to get. Come on my show and we'll see what you win and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right there. We'll see what happens there.
Anytime. Let's bring it on. I love it. Hey, listen, we appreciate you guys in all seriousness. We love you guys coming on, and we do appreciate you. The winner gets plug time. The loser gets plug time. So that's the best part of it. We'll start with you, Rattlesnake. Tell our listeners where they can find you and how we can listen to your content.
Yes. So I am Rattlesnake. That's at Rattlesnake Tex on Twitter. I am mostly tweeting about the Houston Cougars, the Houston Astros, baby. I don't care that we lost. We're still world champs. And NASCAR. That's all my content. I am the host of a NASCAR podcast called Chairgatin, where we just kind of sit around and get drunk and get angry about Steve Phelps, which I'm sure Matt over here understands. That's the whole podcast. So if you want to check it out, enjoy it on Twitter, Chairgatin, Instagram, Chairgatin. And yeah, the podcast, we have video and audio. So YouTube Live, Twitter Live, audio is on Apple and Spotify.
Awesome. I hope our audience had a pen for all of that for sure. All right, Matt, it's your time, your plug time, my brother. Let our listeners know where they can find you and your content.
Yeah, the best place you could go is ramblinaboutracin.com. It has links to all of our social media platforms where you could on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, which we try to do what Rattlesnake and the guys there at Chairgatin do, and on YouTube it's a little tougher because we just edit everything. So YouTube isn't caught up quite yet. But you can find this on all major podcast platforms. And we just talk racing just like that. Only except Steve Phelps, I'm more mad at still Brian France there, Rattlesnake, after the
I don't know. You need to come on because this would be a good discussion. I don't know who's worse at this point, but
that could be a good topic of debate.
At least Brian France got drunk and just didn't show up. That was better than Steve Phelps meddling.
Well, yeah, Steve Phelps needs to stay out of it sometimes.
Exactly.
It's just Steve. Anyway, we're going to go down the rabbit hole here.
So you can tell I would definitely get the Dumbass of the Week award on y'all's show because I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming on. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about all the shit that we got wrong last week. And by the way, real quick, next week on Champs or Chumps, it's going to be an all Boston show. We're going to have Rockin' at the Jake versus the Pesky Report. So that'll be fun. Again, don't forget to listen to these guys, Chairgatin and God, I keep forgetting Ramblin about Racin. Thank you. Thank you. Always end up forgetting it. Listen, Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and you check them all out. Great shows. Please check them out, especially as NASCAR season is winding down. I'll be catching up here shortly. So we appreciate you guys again, and we'll be right back.
Man, Commish, must be hard trying to get us clowns to come together for the show.
Yeah, especially keeping us motivated during the Jeffter snack breaks.
It's almost like we need a counselor or someone to at least consult us because we don't know what we're doing.
Luckily for us, we signed the best coach in the business, Vision Coach and Consulting.
They have led the way for business professionals for over 20 years.
Yeah, you know what? They offer business coaching, life coaching, and consulting services that can put you back on the track for your personal goals.
You don't say, Nick. You know what? Check them out today at coachingandleading.org or on Facebook or Twitter at their handle, Coach Lead Win.
Vision Coaching and Consulting, because every champion has a coach.
All right, so full disclosure, now that the guests have left the house. Full disclosure, I had to give it to Chairgatin because remember we talked pre-show and that's who we were going to give it to, and I only made one graphic for the winner, so that's my bad. That's why I was like, you have to give it to him anyway.
Yeah, I guess we got to stick to the script, but holy crap!
Hey, we got to stick with the script. I just had a full disclosure on that. All right, and I also hit the damn wrong. I hit the same commercial again, so my bad to our listeners. All right, so let's talk about all the stuff we got wrong last week.
Told you so dumb, baby, you're so dumb. I can tell right now, you ain't no good for me. When I think.
All right, we'll go to our stardom and situms. Ooh-wee, the commissioner. What is going on? You got Tua as your stardom. He doesn't even play. Oh, that was awful. Aaron Jones, 5.3. I mean, A.J. Dillon took over that game. So no, Aaron Jones seems like he's going gently into that good night. Jalen Waddle had an okay game on my stardom, but you look at Dallas Goedert, 7.3, Cowboys 3. I mean, it's bad. My stardoms were just awful. My situms were okay. Sam Darnold, 1.8, so it was right there. Eli Mitchell, 12.9. Adam Thielen, 8.6. Tyler Higbee, 10. And Broncos with 7. Let's look at Mr. Flanders. Tyrod Taylor, he a big failure indeed, 5.9. Austin Eckler, he was okay, 11.2. Robert Woods had a good game, 17.4. We're starting to see him emerge, it's a little bit more in this offense, which is nice to see. Tyler Conklin paid out for you too. Rams D, I just don't know what's going on with their defense, but I just feel like they're not playing to their. Maybe it's because the offense is scoring so quickly. Not really sure what's going on there, but they're not showing up like they should be, unfortunately. Trevor Lawrence, 5.1 on your situms. Damian Harris, 10.3. Mike Williams, 7.8. We're starting to see Keenan Allen now starting to emerge, and Mike Williams starting to take his usual year-end downfall. And the Bears D actually did have a decent game last night. I know you were excited to see them just with Pittsburgh, but They had it was actually a decent game, and we're going to talk about that actually in a minute. And I mean, the Juice and the Jester are here, so we're not going to go over too much. Other than I would give myself the dumbass, but listen, Fred, bro, like you got Kyler Murray and Hopkins that aren't even playing. James Robinson doesn't play. You have him as a sit-em. I mean, I just don't understand what's going on here, bro. Listen, you got to get off the cruise. You got to get the sunblock off and wake up, bro. Because when you do the starting or sit-ems and you put the same players every week, it's not helping anyone. So this week, our stardom and sit-em dumbass is the Jester.
Dumbass. Thank these. You call me dumbass. Black guy entertainment. Stupid.
I mean, tighten up already. And let's talk real quick about our ultimate team. And you looky what we have here. At 4 weeks ago, I've been dominating, but Greg has finally, the Juice got loose. 162.2. Great scoring by the Juice this week for his ultimate team. He is our winner and our ultimate team. Nick, number 2. You've been consistently in the number 2 slot. Number 3 this week for the commish, not too far behind. And Fred, oh my God, bro. Didn't even listen, the ultimate team. Like you could pick anybody at all. And throughout the entire league, and you cannot break 100 points, bro. You have to be embarrassed by that. So please, sir.
Hey man, just want to let you know that sometimes you gotta shut the fuck up. You gotta shut the fuck up. And this current time is just one of those times you gotta shut the fuck up. I don't think you're a bad person. I just don't want to hear you talking anymore. You gotta shut the fuck up.
All right.
Yes, that is what we got wrong. All right, so let's move on. We have some other things to talk about this evening, and we have some breaking news. So let's get started with some news. And tonight in the news, Mr. Chubb and Mr. Felton were both caught with COVID. News at 11. Yeah, no Nick Chubb, no Dimitri Felton this week. Possibly. They're both vaccinated but tested positive for COVID. So we don't know, and it could be just Mr. Johnson's neighborhood this week. Nick, talk about this and the impact to the Cleveland offense.
Well, if their offense runs through the running game, Mr. Johnson is going to be exhausted by the third quarter. They better call up somebody from the practice squad. We kept saying, and I re-listened to the show, with OBJ gone this, with OBJ gone that, he hasn't been a factor in that offense ever since he's been there. So it really didn't matter. As far as their passing game goes. So if those two are out, Felton and Chubb, if they're out, it's going to be Heavy Johnson, and then it's going to go through Landry and Peoples-Jones. So and it's going to be an ugly game because on the other side of the ball, we have we got the 2 running backs out. We got Stevenson and we've got Harris out for New England. So it's going to be a pass heavy day for that game.
Yeah, indeed. Wow. So I'm sorry, we have some more breaking news.
Yeah, I was going to get to that.
With the Dalvin Cook situation, is that
would be the situation.
Yeah, so that just kind of came through from I don't know what we're going to call Greg now. I just call him our breaking news, Adam Schefter. That just broke across Twitter that Dalvin Cook is accused of physical and emotional abuse in a lawsuit by his ex-girlfriend. And MJ is shaking her finger no, so we're going to skip past that and let's move on. I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll just talk about it in a moment. Greg Zerline, he's also out with COVID, which you happily pointed out as well. I want to talk about OBJ. So today was the day the waivers. He completely cleared them. Nobody picked up OBJ. I know you're not surprised, but where do you see him so far? Greg broke that the Patriots are kind of all in the mix talking to him. Green Bay has been mentioned. The Saints have been mentioned. Where do you see him best fit for the team? And again, remember, this is a 1-year rental. He's a free agent after this, so this just could be a one and done. And it looks like, again, Cleveland's going to pick up most of the contract. So where do you think he would best fit to end the season?
Yeah, because he cleared waivers, they're going to pick up the 4.25. So he can go anywhere. And like you said in our pre-discussion, our pre-show notes, that it's going to be peanuts for anybody else to sign him. The fact that he came out and said, I want to go to Seattle, it puts them in the front runner, because if someone says that's the team I want to go to, they might give that team a discount and say, look, I want a title. I'll play for next to nothing. Just get me on that team because I want to win. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a great fit in New England because of the fact that all those stars, all those prima donnas, and I'm going to lump him in there, they all wash out with Belichick. Hell, Brady left him. Okay, Brady said, look, I'm out of here. I know I want to have fun. Yeah, I'm winning, but I'm not having fun. Gronk left because he wasn't having fun. Randy Moss left. He showed up to a meeting. Now, this was probably punitive and culminative, but he was 15 minutes or half an hour late to practice or something because of the snow. And Bella said, all right, that's it. You're out of here. So, not everyone can live by Belichick's rules. I don't see that as a positive marriage, just due to what we know about Beckham's personality. So I think the best fit is going to be Seattle because Pete Carroll is very lax. He's very loose. He's very, look, you do what you do and you get the job done, you stay. If you don't, well then you're gone. I mean, hell, he gave Gordon how many chances to come in? So, and he wants to play with Russell Wilson. I mean, who wouldn't want to play with Russell Wilson? So I'm going to put my money on Seattle.
Yeah, again, I'm not sure the Patriots be the best place for him football-wise. I don't think it makes the most football sense to me. I mean, Mac Jones is a little limited in what he can do. He's a rookie. I mean, he is what he is. This is more – that's something you're going to go long-term with. Maybe after this season, maybe he might want to sign with them. But I think for this season, Green Bay is a very sexy option. Actually, Aaron Rodgers talked about being, the farewell tour with him and Devontae Adams. Have OBJ on the other side. That would be nice. The Ravens, I like that a lot. The Saints, obviously, to take away from Michael Thomas not being there. So there are some good options for him. For me, I think Packers would be up there, and to me, Ravens too. I'm surprised they're not in the mix, but I would like him to go there as well. All righty. Well, yeah, we'll talk about maybe the Dalvin Cook situation on Friday as that develops, maybe, and have a little sidebar with MJ, because we are bringing up a lot of legal stuff that's been going on. But for this week, like I said, a lot of the crazy stuff went on. Again, we talked about 1 week, it was tight end, whatever, the tight end special weekend. Then we had the backup.
National Tight End Day.
Right. And then we had then it was that 1 weekend where it was all the backup QBs did everything. Mm-hmm. And now it's this week where it was just like the unpredictability factor was just everywhere. Like you just couldn't, nothing you could point your finger on. It was like, oh, this was right, this was wrong. So with that being said, let's bring in some Flander flops from week 9.
Gucci flip flops, make a kick rock. This a big clock. Check the wristwatch. Gucci flip flops, fuck you, hit your bitch and massage. This a big.
All right, Nick, who you got for your floppers for week 9?
I have. Let's start with the top. Let's go to the quarterback. We're going to go with Josh Allen. Again, I said the other night, I didn't think that they expected to go down to Jacksonville and get smacked around, but lo and behold, they did. So Josh Allen was ranked 18th after the game, after all yesterday's games. He amassed only 264 yards, no TDs, 2 picks. He's going to be the only player in NFL history to be picked and sacked by the same name on the other side of the ball, which I thought was cool and terrible all at the same time. And for all that, he got 11.5 points. So he is the big quarterback flop of the week.
Yeah, I mean, again, nothing you could point your finger at other than, they're going around talking about this cover 2 cloud that's really disrupting some of these offenses like KC and, Buffalo, which pretty much primarily are the same type of offense with no big running back, no downhill running threat. So interesting. That was very interesting to see by the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was not expecting that at all. Josh Allen, I feel like the Bills, I've heard it on other shows. I don't want to necessarily copy what they're saying, but they were exactly right that they, this is their time right now. The KC, where are they at right now? They could be the creme de la creme in the AFC right now. And I just don't, they're not doing what needs to be done. They're not beating the teams they need to beat. Obviously, with Jacksonville, that should have been an easy one. Again, let's see what the Bills produce going forward, but it's making things interesting in the AFC nonetheless. Who you got at your running back flop?
Running back, I have Mr. Jones. Okay, that was terrible. So I got Aaron Jones. He only ran for 53 yards. He was ranked 38th because he only scored 5.3 points. So everyone was expecting for him to have a big game because obviously Aaron Rodgers was out. So it was going to be run heavy. They're playing against the Chiefs defense. Chiefs defense is not that good against the run nor the pass. So they expected to see a big double-digit point game, maybe a 12, 13-point game. And they got 8 points less. So that might have broken the hearts of a lot of fantasy players. Cost many games. I'm sure that cost many games. So again, we have an oops from Aaron Jones, and I'm sure he'll bounce back, especially once Aaron Rodgers is back, because as we all discovered, Love has been in the building for 18 months, and we kind of knew he can't play. So they better rush Aaron Rodgers back. They better do what they need to do. In fact, they were just fined today $300,000 because of their hush-hush operation up there in Green Bay. So I'll let you talk about that more. But again, back to Aaron Jones, 38th ranked, 5.3 points.
Yeah, I think that was more negligence, of anything on them. But yeah, Aaron Jones, he was my stardom, so I was one of those people. I thought he was going to have a huge game. I thought they were going to, turn into Cleveland, to be honest. I also liked A.J. Dillon. I talked about it that Sunday. I thought they both were going to go off. A.J. Dillon did have a good game. Aaron Jones did not. So, again, you're starting to see that more too. Thunder Thighs is starting to get a few more carries, and it's getting colder. So maybe they're going to start leaning on Captain Thunder. We'll see how it goes going forward. All right, who you got as receiver?
Well, you asked for one, and I was industrious, and I gave you two. And not only did I give you two, I gave you two on the same team. Okay. Ooh, yeah. How about them Cowboys? So I gave you CeeDee Lamb. He was ranked 59th this week because of his outstanding 1 target, 1 reception, 23-yard performance. It got you 2.3 points. This would be standard. And then his buddy on the other side, Mr. Cooper, was not hanging too well. He was 48th, had 2 catches on 5 targets. He actually had 2 drops, believe it or not, and he had 37 yards. So again, that did help equate to the 16 points and the terrible performance by Dak. But everyone thought that Denver was just going to come in and just roll over because of the whole Von Miller thing. No, they just stepped up. They did the exact opposite, and I couldn't have been happier. It could have been happier to a better team as far as I'm concerned. So again, I love it when the Cowboys lose. I think it's the best thing on TV that day. So I'm sure Cooper's got some wonderful comments at me.
No, I I was just gonna comment how much you enjoyed watching. You enjoyed doing that segment at least. I mean, you're all over that one. Especially you give it 2 Cowboys at that. All right, let's go on. Who you got? Who you got as your tight end?
My tight end. We love to say his name. Mo Alley Cox. Okay, he came in with a whopping 1 target, 1 catch, 28 yards, and ranked 31st. Carson's been tearing it up as of lately. I heard a wonderful stat about him today. Over the past 5 weeks, he's been the 5th ranked quarterback. You could say that he's a glorified game manager this season, but who cares? He's got 11 touchdowns and 1 pick, and he's winning ball games. And I can see them easily. Well, I can say easily. Let's see how it goes up in Tennessee. But I could see them taking over that division if they keep churning out wins the way they're doing. Carson's back. Carson's back. Carson's back.
Yeah, I mean, still look at that division. Got the Jags. I mean, you still got the Texans. I mean, so lots of juicy matchups still left for Carson Wentz. So again, like that. But we talked about the big show, Mo Alley Cox. A little limited in his route running ability. So unfortunately for him, he's kind of on the flop list. All right, we don't need to bring up the kicker, especially because he's on COVID. We don't talk about kickers on the show. Who else you got defensively on your flop?
Oh, my other favorite team, the Cincinnati Bungholes. Okay, and as we said earlier a few shows ago, they played as nasty as that Skyline chili. They were 22. They gave up 35 points. They had 2 sacks, which was nice for them. But I was happy because in my game, my opponent played them, and they got -8 points. So I was ecstatic. So I had a hell of a day on Sunday. Not only was it my birthday, Dallas gave me a present because they lost, and Cincinnati gave me a present because they lost. So I was ecstatic.
Yeah, it was. They did surprise me last week, and again, they were coming in the week pretty hot. Thought they were going to have a good game, and yeah, they definitely did not. So I can definitely see them being a big flop for you this week. And again, I'm sure you're glad you enjoyed it. Let's real quick. I want to talk about last night, and then we got the Thursday night preview. Just briefly about last night. Great game once again. All these night games seem to be exciting. Justin Fields, it's starting to go from the Pop Warner quarterback he looked like against the Buccaneers to against a really good defense last night, which held him in check for most of the game. But then momentum started to strike, and they really started to get things going. So that was very telling last night. I felt Justin Fields is the game is starting to slow down, so to speak, for him. So you're starting to see the maturation process. And I like what I'm seeing as we're going forward for him. And also, I feel bad for Khalil Herbert owners because last night, I was shocked. I was sitting there, I think we were talking about during the show, and like David Montgomery, they were like, "Oh, you're back? Cool, because here's the ball." They start counting the ball the entire time.
Thank you for your service. Now go sit down.
All right, do your job. Go sit, bro. We got this. Now, I think that might have been Khalil Herbert was a little banged up too. I think so. Maybe that was like, okay, Montgomery's full healthy. Go. Let's just feed him the ball. Not sure what it was, but David Montgomery owners, you got something to be happy about as well. Nick, I'll let you talk about the rest of the game and talk about. We'll talk about the flag. I want to talk about that in a second. But talk about the Pittsburgh side of things and what you saw.
Oh, wow. A couple things to unpack. Number one, it's getting hard to defend Ben anymore, man. It's I love the guy. I really, really do. But it's getting hard to defend. Watching him play, it's like watching that boxer who's just trying to just hang on to every single round. I love the guy. I really do. But fantasy ending, he'd win the Super Bowl this year and walk off into the sunset. That's not happening. It's really not. Like he's struggling, and I think if they had somebody back there more capable, I think he'd get pulled. But again, Pittsburgh is a very, very loyal organization. They're not going to pull him. I mean, the guy's arm has to fall off for them to pull him. Is he hurting the offense? Yeah, but they're not exactly losing games in terrible fashion either. And in fact, they tried to give that game away at least 8 times last night, and
Right.
the
Yeah,
referees
I saw you on Facebook commenting about it.
The referees just said, "Nope, not today. You're going to win this game." Oh
Yeah,
my gosh!
Let's talk about that.
The Bears fans must be up in arms because every single chance they got, the refs threw the flag on them. That kid that came up, that linebacker Cassius, I don't remember his last name. He did absolutely nothing wrong. I thought he got the flag for that spin kick, which I thought was pretty cool. But and all he did was look at the bench. He didn't. They said, "Well, I thought he was staring down the punter." Who the hell stares down the punter? Nobody stares down the punter.
Right.
And then you mentioned the flag. Really? The referee just casually backed up into him and pulled the flag.
Right.
Oh, you touched me. That's a bunch of crap. The Steelers should have lost that game. You don't give up 17 points in the last quarter and a half. I expect to win. So, and thank goodness that the refs helped them out. And the other killer bee back there, Chris Boswell, booted it. Because I'll tell you what, they should have, by all rights, they should have lost that game.
Yeah,
Somebody won in Vegas last night. Somebody won in Vegas.
Yeah, for sure. And again, this is a game that you're asking these men to put their bodies on the line, going through essentially car accidents, every chance they get. But you want to take the emotion out, bro. Like, this is the wrong avenue the NFL has gone down. They need to get rid of this, and they're very proactive. I hope that last night they have a meeting and do something about this, because that definitely should not be causing issue in a game. All right, we only got a couple minutes left, so let's quickly talk about Thursday night football. Oh boy, again, we didn't get anybody answer the trivia question yet, so I probably won't be able to give these tickets away. I don't know who wants to go see this beatdown. But listen, the last time Lamar Jackson went down to Miami, it was bonkers. Lamar Jackson went crazy.
Oh, he torched you. And you sat there and watched it.
I did. The funny thing about that is I had him on my team, and I had this weird feeling, and I had my buddy with me whose son was a Ravens fan, and I was playing him in fantasy and said, you know what? I'm going to sit Lamar. Something tells me Miami's going to go well. And I just sat there while Lamar just went off. And, of course, he's having a great time because here he is sitting in my seats, having a great time, looking at me like, yeah, wait, go Dolphins. All right, so I see Lamar, obviously a big start. Hollywood Brown also had a big game. I see him also doing well as well. Mark Andrews, definitely, I think he's got him as a number 1 or 2 tight end this week. Tua, if he plays, though, the Ravens defense have been sneaky bad against the pass.
Oh, terrible.
So you might look for Gesicki, maybe Waddle a little bit, but I wouldn't go crazy because this might be the get-right game for the Ravens D. I mean, the Dolphins offense isn't all that great. They've been struggling. Let's be real about it. So, again, I would temper my expectations on Gesicki or Waddle. In fact, if I had better options, I'd go with them because, quite frankly, like I said, I've got another sneaky feeling this is the get-right game for the Ravens D. Anything quick before we close out, Nick?
No, you kind of covered it all. I'm hoping Devontae Williams has a big game, especially because I have him on my team. And you said you couldn't give your tickets away. Well, right now, according to Vivid Seats, they're going for $54.
All right.
As a low.
Hey.
So, and breaking news, well, a little additional breaking news. Per CNN, as I said before, the Packers were fined $300,000, while Rodgers and Lazard were fined each $14,650, according to the disciplinary schedule. So,
hey.
We'll see what comes out of it.
Well, we shall see. Hey, Aaron, tell your bank account to relax. All
Aaron Rodgers.
We appreciate
Aaron Rodgers.
And we are out.
Good night.
We're on a mission, guys. We're on a mission, guys.